You guys want to see something funny?
Don't let anybody ruin your day. Ruin it yourself. Be a man.
Oh my god.
I mean, my first question is why? Why do this to yourself? My second is how many takes? Because that was pretty elaborate. That curve all the way around the bowl. That was measured and calculated.
And how, after the first one didn't hit, would you continue attempting it?
Yeah, seeing the force that it comes flying by you at when it misses, like I don't want to hit that. So for anybody listening, that was somebody rolling a bowling ball in in a bowl of a skateboarding park, and you see the ball go all the way around the ball and into a guy's nuts. As most funny videos end, something hits a guy in the nuts, you know?
That's why women live longer, okay? You guys always do stupid ass shit like this. Like, we start the pod and I'm watching, I'm like, why? Why?
Welcome to Leafs Light, where you get your most sophisticated humor.
Yeah, I think Jackass is to blame for a lot of it.
Fair.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, that was the transition from like America's Funniest Videos, you know, where it's kids saying funny things or, oh no, I dropped something, to like, now people got to get like seriously hurt. Everybody's threshold for what's a funny video was just pushed up by them. And now the bar is set. Nobody's got to live up to them. And that's not a good thing to do.
I want to know what size that ball was. Was it like a 12-pounder or 15
The weight,
pounder?
yeah.
I think it was a pretty big one, and hit a couple smaller ones. All right, hockey. Welcome to Leafs Late Night. Let's hit it.
Hi, this is Mike Ross, public address announcer for your Toronto Maple Leafs, and this is the Leafs Late Night Podcast, your post-game destination. And now, your starting lineup: Roscoe, the Fanalyst, Suthy, Biehner, and Gardy Brodeur on the Leafs Late Night Podcast.
Alrighty, welcome back to Leafs Late Night. I'm your host, Roscoe, joined by Steph the Fanalyst, Suthy, and Biehner. We are presented by Inside the Rink, and it's never too late for the Leafs. So the Leafs had quite the game tonight, coming out explosive and maybe taking a little bit of a backseat for a bit and finishing things off strong. So it was a little bit of everything to introduce Ryan O'Reilly and Noel Acciari to the team. You know, they've got a taste of everything since they've been here, right?
I was thinking that coming into tonight because they wanted to be here for the Montreal game, right? Like, they were very adamant about it, to the point that Ryan O'Reilly had to break into their old arena and get the equipment to get it on the plane. And then they had a good old-fashioned Leafy loss against the last place team of the league, against Chicago on Sunday. And then, bam, returning against your old team. He's never scored more than 2 or 1 goal in that building after how many games he's played there, right? Over 100 games. And he scores 3 tonight. Oh,
and his first multi-goal game of the season. I mean, I know St. Louis has been bad, but poor guy. I'm glad they got him the hat trick on the empty net. That was a nice little icing on the cake there. So, Suthy, you haven't been around since we've gotten Mr. O'Reilly, I believe. So what excites you the most about this trade with him and Acciari?
Having him in the lineup. I call this in mid-December, I think we had a podcast where we talked about this. Just everything he brings, like his pedigree, obviously winning Stanley Cup, winning the Conn Smythe, his two-way play is unreal. But adding Acciari is kind of one of the most underrated parts of this trade. Like, he brings something so different to our fourth line that makes it really comparable when they play against Tampa Bay or Boston. I think that's going to be a huge deciding factor going forward.
I definitely agree. And I felt almost like Ryan Callahan there. I don't know if you guys caught his question to Keefe, but it was pretty funny. He's like, so what do you think is working for the Marner, Tavares, O'Reilly line? And Keefe's like, they're superstars.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're all really good. How do you want me to answer that?
Keith did say, though, since Noah Achari has been in this lineup, the fourth line has never looked better, just from judging from 2 games alone. I mean, he scored in the last game, which we missed, and tonight, 7 hits, guys. Damn, like, he's already leading the category, and he's not afraid to throw on the bot, and it's not even just that. For me, anyways, I noticed he is so great at breaking out the puck from the boards or feeding literally anyone to the point where no one sees the puck coming. All you see is the puck just stroll out and no one's there, or they're just not expecting it. I'm like, damn, like, I have typed his name so many times tonight. Just, I'm impressed.
Yeah, and I mean, David Kampf, 71% on the dot. O'Reilly, 57% on the dot. Tavares got waved in for the one, obviously won it. Can you imagine? The center gets waved out, and you have to go against JT instead.
JT was already like a top 10 centerman in this league for his percentage, too. So it just adds like a whole versatility wrinkle that if they want to put ROR or even JT on the third line, it makes their top 4 lines so hard to play against. And like in matching, too, it's, I don't know, Keith must be thrilled about this because going forward, it's a huge, huge coup for him.
Wasn't there a question after the Habs game about the face-off prowess?
One of the questions actually that they asked during the intermission today was interesting is, would you take O'Reilly, game 1 of the playoffs, is O'Reilly going to be on the second line or third line center? And I want to know what you guys think of this. So, Steph, we'll start with you.
Well, I think it's just a great opportunity to test it out right now and not make that final decision because we're not in the playoffs yet. So why not try and get JT comfy on the wing and gather up some points like he did tonight and shut up the haters from Sunday night. And when the time comes and you need a better matchup, maybe put O'Reilly on the third line and see how it works out before, playoffs come. And we have already discussed Tampa's bottom 6, right? Like, they're no joke. So,
Suthy, what do you think?
That's a tough one, man. I think they're going to start him off as they are right now. He'll be playing second line center along JT, but if things go awry, then you obviously put him in the third line spot right away. Like I said, that's depth that they've never really had before going into the playoffs, and that's a huge, huge plus for this team right now. No wrong answers.
Biehner, I see you nodding your head. You agree?
Kind of. O'Reilly and JT can both work at center. We know that. That's where they've played the majority of their careers. So why not try what they're doing right now, putting one of them on the wing, to see if that can work, and you always have the fallback fail-safe, right? That you can go 1, 2, 3, bang, bang, bang. And like they pointed out on the podcast, if Point against Matthews, Stamkos against Tavares, and then you have to throw, who are you doing, Paul, or who's their fourth line center, Biehner, against O'Reilly? Like, come on.
No, it's a good point, especially up against Tampa. You might want that for the third or fourth line. But what I read today was that Keefe told Tavares when he moved him to the wing that it wasn't going to be a one-time thing and to get used to it. So, I mean, whether that means for the long haul, like this is where you are now, or he just means, for a couple weeks at least, see how it works. But honestly, I kind of agree with Biehner that it looks good against the third and fourth lines there to move O'Reilly down. But with how the third line played tonight, like Kerfoot and Yarncroke have been working really well together, and Engvall was good too. And that fourth line of Aston Reese, Achari, and
Kerfoot.
Kerfoot. So who was on the third line then? It was Engvall, Yarncroke, and
Yarncroke.
Kampf.
Yeah.
Jesus. Anyway, the third line worked really well. Yarncroke killed a ton of time there on that penalty kill. It was fantastic. Like they're figuring out how to do the things that they need to do. They're finding offense when the holes are there, and they're killing time when they need to kill time. I don't know, the fourth line's becoming the shutdown line that it needs to be. Hikari was getting all up in Dahlia's face. Oh my God.
Yeah, and it's nice to see that the puck is being cycled, the other team is being hemmed into their own zone, and the chances are coming. Like, countless times tonight, especially in the first period, how many times did Kerfoot try and feed Achari and vice versa? Even Czar. Like, I feel like there's a whole new life to this line that's super valuable. And just imagine once, Poppy's line gets going, and then Engvall gets a little scoring itch. This team is deep.
Yeah, so I mean, just to jump into the game, first period, Ryan O'Reilly scoring back-to-back 37 seconds apart. Like, I mean, obviously everybody's excited for him to get his first one, but my stream was a little behind, and I was seeing Twitter go up like, he scored again. I'm like, wait. Don't spoil this for me. What just happened? And sure enough, him and Marner were just like on another level tonight. Even the passes that went to him where he didn't score, it was like Marner was finding him through 3 or 4 people. It's no wonder he finished the night with a career high 5 assists. That's insane.
I think it's really important to point out, though, neither of these goals happen if it weren't for TJ Brodie stopping the momentum of the Sabres going the other way. He literally, on the first goal anyways, he was there at neutral ice, breaks up the play, then chips it to JT, who, feeds Marner for the Ryan O'Reilly goal, and then the same thing happens. Buffalo chips it down into the Leafs zone. Brodie retrieves the puck to Gio, comes back up. 37 seconds later, they do it again. So I thought the D tonight, well, especially Brodie and I believe, who was he paired with? Timmins, right? They were good for me majority of the night, but then it really dropped off. We all know the game really dropped off in the second and third there.
Yeah, the D was okay tonight. I feel like the forwards were bailing them out a bit. There was a lot of breaking up of plays in the neutral zone. People were getting dropped from behind by the forwards when they weren't expecting it. I feel like they were bailing them out a lot, and it started to show as they stopped doing that in the second and third. At least that's what I took away. Suthy, what do you think defensively was going on here?
Defensively, I thought we got a little bit relaxed. The forwards stopped going back a bit, but to Steph's point, like when Ryan O'Reilly scored those first 2 goals, he was the last man back on both of them at one point. So he was being very defensively responsible, and he was hauling his ass back into the offensive zone, and that's where he kind of got lost in the mix. So he was able to go kind of alone for both those goals. But to your question, going up 4-0, the Leafs, I think they started playing on their heels a little bit, and defensively, we were not helping them out as much. So I don't really blame the defense as much as I blame the offense not coming back and helping out as much.
Yeah, I think Timmins had a rough night. He's somebody who I think has been more good than bad since he's been on the team, but I feel like whenever he has a rough game, it's pretty obvious, and it starts with a penalty, and then from there he gets frustrated, and then it kind of goes downhill. I feel like when his night starts off with some good offensive plays, he can ride that for the whole night. But I don't know. He's still a little temperamental when it comes to the mistakes. It's like with Rasmus Dahlin. He gets frustrated, and then it just takes over the rest of his night. He, however, can turn it into cutting through 4 guys and trying to score.
Yes.
With regards to Timmins, though, there's something to be said for the consistency and knowing you're going to be in the lineup, right? Like we saw this previously when it came to Sandman and Lilly. They would have flashes of brilliance, and then they would have games where they just completely jumped in the freezer because they were worried. Even if they said they weren't, in the back of their minds, they were worried that every single little mistake is going to be what's going to pull them out of the lineup for the next game. Mm-hmm. Like you saw it against Montreal, Timmins played great. Like he played great. He had 2 penalties. Okay, that happens. But he was also on the score sheet. He got points. And he was pulled out for the Chicago game. So then now this game, that's in the back of his mind again. It's like, oh crap, one little oops, one little mess up, I'm going to be pulled out. So you can't be playing wondering about the next game. You got to stay in that game, and that can be difficult when you're in and out of the lineup.
No, that's a good point, actually. So scratched tonight, we had Jordy Ben and Rasmus Sandin. So Sandin's not been scratched in, I think, this season.
He's injured.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I missed that. My bad. So I guess until he's back, we'll probably see Timmins staying in the lineup. So that should give him some better games in the next couple of weeks. But I don't know.
And since we're talking about D right now, I'm sorry, but I think Hall has been someone who's been playing really good lately. He hasn't been noticed at all, which is a testament to his game. I think he's been extremely steady. He's been negating all the mistakes he has been making, and I've really, really liked his game.
No, I got to give it to him. A lot of the American broadcasts that I've been watching the last few games have been praising him and, how cheap his deal is. And I'm like, yeah, okay, fine. I get it. Perspective. It's such a hot and cold. You ask me week by week, and I'll say, fine, we can keep him, or I cannot watch another game of him. Ooh, do we want to do an Ed's text? I got a good one, speaking of defense.
Let's hear it.
O'Reilly hot. Riley sucks. Game could, he says his game could have gone AWOL in the third. Achari's sneaky and tough like his game. So, my dad continuing his hate of Morgan Riley. What do you guys think? Because the panel, again, to go back to what they talked about in the broadcast here, the panel was talking about how he's really got to find his game as the Leafs approach the playoffs here. He's starting to get there, but still not at the Morgan Riley level that we know and love, So what do you guys think is the answer here?
I don't know. I mean, the Tuck goal tonight in the third period kind of fell on Riley a bit. He was too wide, couldn't take his man. Tuck had a complete free lane rushing to Samsonov and was able to bury it. And you mentioned Hall, Suthy, real quick. I think the Jeff Skinner goal was a little bit on Hall, unfortunately. He was out of position and didn't have his man. But Riley, of course I have bias for Riley. He's our boy, right? He's our quarterback here. But I don't know. I think he was on the rest of the team for the second and third. I mean, the first period, completely different. They put the defense first. The offense came immediately. Like, they were completely unstoppable. And then the second and third just fell off. No, loosey-goosey. And look at the result.
Yeah, and I think part of it always comes back to my sticking point with Riley is that he's never had a partner. I mean, we went up against Ilya Lyubushkin tonight, who, hasn't scored since he was a Leaf. Fun fact. And he was the most solid-looking partner and longest-term partner I think Riley's had in, 5 years. So that's a problem. It shouldn't be that way. And I think this is kind of what we're starting to see as he's coming back. And it's like, how do you get back in the groove if you're switching partners all the time and there's no normal to come back to, I guess, because it's always changing for him. I think it's tough to do that night in and night out.
Oh, it's a big challenge when you don't know who you're going to be playing with. Like, if you're looking at him and saying he struggled tonight, and this is me, I know I'm biased in this opinion, but he was paired with Hall for 14 minutes.
Yeah.
I knew you were going to say that.
But this is my point, is like, you're not doing him any favors by not finding him the proper defensive pair. I mean, TJ Brody was that. I get that Brody works well with Liljegren or with Timmins or with Sandin. Like, you can put him with all these guys and you can solidify any of your second or third pairs. But I feel like it hurts Riley to just keep switching whoever's on the first pair with him.
But realistically, so for tonight with Sandman hurt, you had Riley Hall, you had Gio and Lily, and you had Brody and Timmins. I would rather that and take away a lot of Riley's game than have Riley, Brody, Gio, Lily, and Hall Timmins.
I would rather
then
Lily
you're just going to completely destroy Timmins' confidence.
But in that case, I would put Lily with Riley.
Yeah.
And Barry, Hall, and Timmins.
But that's the same thing, though. You're still having Hall completely destroy Timmins' confidence.
Yeah, it's true.
They're both right-handed.
Yeah, fine. Okay. Fine, everybody can rip me. Moving on. John Tavares picking up his 26th of the year from O'Reilly and Marner. This line continues to be unstoppable. We got to come up with a name for this now that we're talking about it. This was the question from Mike the Fanatic. So what do we call the second line?
8 points in 7 minutes and 14 seconds for the second line in the first period. All Ontario boys, and you know what they say, good things grow in Ontario. Yeah.
I don't think that's the jingle, but
yes, it
it's
is.
close enough.
That
was the jingo for the longest time.
What is it
2
now?
points throughout the whole game is pretty impressive.
I don't know if it's still that because I don't pay for actual TV. So I don't
No, I'm
normally
just
watch
saying
commercials.
your notes were
Childhood.
your melody was wrong. The words were right.
Oh, guys, I'm a blabber, not a singer, okay?
It's okay. Okay, so we can do Ontario. We got Magic. We got the Rhino. We got the Captain. We got a lot of things to work with here.
I still put it on the
Homegrown.
spot. Homegrown, yeah, exactly. There you go.
I don't know.
What's
The green
something?
belt.
The green belt.
The green belt, that's not bad.
That's actually a pretty good one. I don't know, something
The GTA.
401. The GTA.
Well,
GTA goals, tan, and apples.
what's the abbreviation? We have T, let's see, M and O. TMO.
Toronto, TOR, Toronto.
Call them the
TOR.
GTBs. Good Toronto boys.
And then, but then you have Marner there too, so you messed it up. I was thinking Tavares and O'Reilly, Toronto.
Marner is the orchard of it all. He's the apple picker. He's the apple grower.
kind of
Because
funny
he
how
grew in
Marner's-
Ontario.
He's like the undisputed engine of this offense now, right? Like I think Matthews is by far the most talented and best player here, but without Marner, this does not go. He has proven that game in and game out. He is everything that drives this offense, and yeah, everything is just going through him right now. It's super impressive to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we should Ontario shout out have a Big Apple award, and the Big Apple award tonight goes to Mitch Marner. And somebody can whoever has another crazy Apple night can take it from him, but I'm pretty sure it's just going to live with Marner for the rest of the season.
TMO to
The last time
Ontario.
a Maple Leaf had 5 assists on the road was Morgan Salming in 1977.
Oh wow, get one up to Bean.
Nice. Wow.
Okay, we'll come back to the name. We'll come up with something. Send us what you think it should be, but it's something Ontario. I don't know. There's so many things to work with here.
Homegrown.
Yeah,
I don't know.
homegrown. I like green belt or like the blue belt. I don't know.
We'll workshop it.
Michael Bunting scored
Scarperia.
breakaway-ish from Riley and Nylander. This one, I did not think this was going to go in. He caught UPL little out of position there.
Actually, Samuelson kind of gets caught with Nylander at the Leafs blue line, and they fall on top of each other somehow. And Riley just collects the random puck off that little scramble and feeds Bunting. And yeah, I can't believe he scored it either. UPL. I don't know what was wrong tonight. Usually he's a nice little sneaky fantasy pickup when the time is right, but tonight 600. I know he got pulled afterwards.
He's having a bad season. He's like in sub 900 and like a 370 or 3.7 goals against or something. Like he was a lot better last year when the team was worse, which is crazy.
7:48 left in the period, and the Leafs chased him out of the net.
Yeah, maybe there's something to be said about when your team gets better, they're playing away from their own net more.
Well, not only that, they're playing a completely different style. Like Buffalo's in the top of the league now for goals, right?
Yep.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like they're playing away from him, and just opening up a lot more chances for UPL to let in goals. Sorry.
After the first 11 minutes, the shots were 8-1 for Toronto, and those are really, really high-end chances too. So they kind of left him out to dry. I think it wasn't completely all on him.
Oh, for sure. And that was something they talked about is Buffalo is one of the worst teams for giving up slot chances, and the Leafs are one of the best teams at scoring them. So that's where everything was going to come from tonight. And that's kind of what happened.
What I was looking at specifically was that the Sabres are the worst in the league on the dot. So I was wondering during this first period, were they losing every single draw? And I'm just looking here, Tage Thompson, 22% tonight. Then you have Dylan Cousins, 33%. And who's the third line center? Akpozo, 71%. That was the best tonight. But I don't know. I think this is really affecting them. And even though they're scoring third overall goals for, they're 24th overall for goals against, and the only thing that's really keeping them afloat is their power play. They're 25% on their power play, but the penalty kill is 30%. It's like they can only outscore their problems, and there's no other support for them.
Speaking of their power play, Leafs shut it down tonight and go to 19 in a row, and I think 31 of their last 33 penalties they've killed. That's crazy. They haven't let one in since the All-Star break. Now, to be fair, they did have a bye week after the All-Star break, unlike most teams, but still, it counts. Ugh.
That's an interesting stat, especially when you think of like Ryan O'Reilly too, because he is an elite penalty killer, and he's going to be on your second penalty kill lineup, and so that should only get better.
Oh yeah, Matthews was only 30% tonight on the dot. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, the Leafs. First shot on net over 10 minutes into the first for Sammy, but then the Leafs just completely went downhill on the shot counter. I mean, 11 in the second period? No, 8 in the second period, and not much after in the third, and completely played their game, it seemed, in the first until the end of the third. But I remember you saying in our group chat, Suthy, it was the start of the third, and the Leafs only had like 8 shots from the end of the first. So nothing was going to the net or hitting the net anyway.
There was one point, I did the math, the Leafs were on pace to outshoot the Sabres 48-9. And I'm like, if this stays, this is going to be a really bad game for the Sabres. And, oh my God, 32-29 are the final shots. Like, you would never know that at one point it was so tilted in one direction. And I think it was 7 in a row that Buffalo got in the second period there when the Leafs got 1. It was almost like when you're watching a team in basketball go on a run, and you're like, how have they scored so many before the other team's gotten 1? Like, it's just flipped on its head, this game.
Score effect is a real left thing. In the third period. Sorry, they only had, I think, 7 shots for that 30 minutes.
Oh, sorry, it's crazy.
No, it's all good. I was just like, score effect is legitimate, right? A lot of people laugh at stuff like that, but even if you're not meaning to, in a mindset, you legitimately change the way you're playing and the way you approach every single shift, depending on the score. If it's 0-0, 1-1, 2-2, 3-2, whatever, you're going to be playing a lot tighter, a lot more crisp. If you're up 4-5-0, well, okay, whatever. Points night, boys. Let's just go out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and let's get to that. So William Nylander picking up the power play goal in the second, making it 5-0. And that's where the Leafs went. Great. Good game, fellas. Start packing the bags.
Yeah. Oh, man.
God.
4 goals in 12 minutes and 9 seconds in the first period, and then the second starts, and Matthews gets a puck to the chest. I didn't even think he was going to come back for a sec. It looked really painful, and then no shots for over 4 minutes. Yeah, and luckily, man, I do have to applaud the Leafs for converting on their power play lately on the first opportunity anyway, because this is super helpful in times like this, especially or when you're down in the game. I'm not saying times like this. What do I mean? We're 5-0 at this point, but I mean when you're in the third and teams are coming back, and you know you had that extra power play goal that you banked that you can rely on in case it gets close in an even game. I just went with that thought. But anyways, you get what I mean?
Yeah.
The Leafs are not like the late 90s Devils team. So when they're up a couple goals, I don't like when they go back on their heels. I wish they would still have their foot a little bit on the gas. Like even just implement like their cycle game. You don't have to be taking wild chances, but when they start playing 1-2-2, that's when this team is not really at their best. They need to be on the attack. They need to be pressuring them at least a little bit to take, time of attack at least. But again, they kind of fell into that whole thing where they're just going to protect the lead, and that doesn't really work for this roster.
No, and it's, again, you don't have a big name shutdown defenseman. Yeah, we got TJ Brody. Yes, we have Giordano. Yes, Liljegren's been great in front of the net. But there's nobody that's, 10 out of 10 every time going to be able to stand up to like Tage Thompson or Jeff Skinner or Alex Tuck flying down the side if you push too far forward. So, like, I get it, but you're absolutely right. When they take their foot off the gas, it's when all the weaknesses show. Like, as soon as that first goal went in from Quinn in the third period, I was like, that's not going to be the last one, is it? Like, with this team, like, as soon as they're on the board, it's like, fuck.
I did want to say Liljegren had a huge hit in the second period against Bjergsen off the puck behind Samsonov. And I don't know, I felt like the boys were throwing around their weight tonight, but Achari just sticks out for me when it comes to like that. This new fourth line is just so physical, and even more so than when we used to have Wayne Simmons and Clifford, because they bring some skill to their game as well. And
Hundo
yeah.
P.
Yeah.
Alex Tuck and Jeff Skinner picking up their 27 and 22nd goals of the year. Sammy, I'm not going to say he looked bad on them. Like, maybe one of these he could have had back, but he was pretty much left alone on them. Like, this was when we saw Timmins making a couple fumbles here, and there was the giveaway from Engvall, I think, as well. I mean, it was, like we said, when they take their foot off the gas and they're playing in their own zone, trying to kill time, it doesn't work.
Yeah, and I honestly thought the momentum was going to switch because Buffalo's coming off their power play, and Timmins took that one, of course, so I thought, in good Timbits fashion, it was going to go next for us. But Engvall tries to bank it, but it goes completely out of the loop. Like, Tsar is nowhere to be found. And I don't know. I'm just thinking of Pickles from our Discord saying that PK Subban jinxed it on the intermission for ESPN Plus. I'm like, damn, Subban, you know better than to say those things and screwing our Sammy shutout. But this one was kind of on Engvall, unfortunately.
Yeah, I find the thing that they have the biggest trouble with is clearing out of their zone when they get caught without icing it. Like, every time that they're stuck in their zone, it's like the only answer they have is icing the puck, and they just end up stuck there for like 3 minutes. Like we saw tonight where, they almost let one in because the entire line was out there for, I think it was a minute 40 or something, and finally Aston Reese was able to get one into the middle there. But it seems to be their biggest struggle right now is clearing out of their zone.
It also doesn't help in the third that, even after the Jack Quinn goal, the Leafs still didn't have a shot on net for the third period. And then what happens next? Tuck scores. Riley's out of position. Literally skates through the middle through Matthews, Riley, Nylander, Hall. Samsonov is the last boss to face. And of course, he slays the dragon, makes it, 5-2, and we're sweating. We're like, oh shit, like, is this happening right now?
Yeah, it was a little shaky, those 3 goals in a row, but obviously the goalie was going to come out of the net, and good on the team for trying to rally and get O'Reilly his hat trick there. So Marner manages to find him at the end, and I didn't know if this one was going to go in, but it just manages to sneak in at the last possible second. And Marner picking up his 51st assist on the year and his 71st point. Oh, my Lord. I mean, yeah, O'Reilly hat trick, but, like, he's the new guy. Got to give love to our boy Mitch for cracking 70 points already.
Hell yeah.
Marner's the engine that's driving all of this, right? He's not going to get the accolades that Matthews is going to get. He's not going to get the accolades that RR is going to get right now because he's the new toy. But without him, none of this happens.
He took his game this year to an absolute another level that, like, we all knew he was good, but I don't know if we realized he was this good. Like he showed glimpses of it when he was with London. Like I saw a couple games when he was with the London Knights, and he was absolutely incredible. And what he did their playoff run when they went to the Memorial Cup, like yes, he had great players on that team with him, but he was phenomenal. And it's looked like he's possibly found that gear now in the NHL, that he's got the vision and the ability that he can just do whatever he wants out there.
I mean, you're 100% on the point. Like, I used to watch him when he played in London a lot too, and when we drafted him, I was so excited because I thought he can actually bring that type of skill and ability to the NHL. And it really does feel like this is the first time in his career where he's just like, he can do anything he wants, right? No one can really stop him. I can't say enough about how good he is this year.
My favorite is watching the American broadcast for them just gushing about Marner. It's like, this guy, like, it's unbelievable what he's doing. These passes, this is crazy. He was at 3 assists. Oh, now he's at 4. O'Reilly got the empty net, and they're like, hey, guess who assisted it? Like, they're just joking about how crazy it is that this guy is all over the ice, just commanding every play.
Yeah, he's able to get it through Darlene, Middlestat, Ryan O'Reilly squeaking this goal through. He's thanking Krebs on the end. He's the one who tapped it in. But the confidence, the shot, he's taking the shot. Like, I mean, there's been games where we're screaming and the hesitation, but it's nowhere near what it used to be like, right? Like, especially with his line mates now, he's not afraid to find JT or O'Reilly. He knows, like, even on the first or second goal by O'Reilly, and like that feed finding someone, like he's feeding from the goal line back center in front. It's like, yes, someone is there, and it connected. Like, how many times has that not connected and just drives you insane?
Obviously, I'm biased, but I think he is the best passer in the league. And to your point, Steph, the way that he's shooting this year, it opens up a lot more room for him to pass because the defensemen have to respect his shot now. So that adds like a whole new wrinkle to his game that has been, like to Biehner's point, like this year has just been night and day compared to the rest of his career.
Yeah, when he's coming at you with speed, man, of course you're shaking in your boots, right? Like, you don't know which way he's going to go, and his edges, he's just magic. But I got to ask you guys, do you miss the boosh, the Labushkin here, or not anymore?
Not anymore.
I'd take him over Hall.
Yeah, I would. They're about the same price. What did they give him, like 2.5 or 2.2 or something? I would take Labushkin just because of the physical game that he brings, and I don't know, the fact that he hasn't scored since last season with the Leafs is maybe a bit of a bit, but
one hit, one block.
Touching on this tonight, but like we all think that there's another move that's going to happen right on the D end.
Oh, I think so. With that, let's go to questions though, because we definitely have one on that, and I asked for some input on that exact point. So before we do, this is just a tweet that Lucas sent us. This is from Jesse Pollock. Leafs have found their missing puzzle piece. Shit. You gotta love that. Thanks, Jesse.
Yes. Feels good.
The other one, Steph, do you have any from Discord while I pull up the one that I asked earlier?
Let me check one more time.
So I asked, what pieces left for Dubas to acquire? D, goalie depth, let us know. And Chris Hurley of Hurley Sports says, third line winger to play with Ryan O'Reilly. Domi, Jeannot, Lafferty, Bukestad. What do you guys think of those picks? I've talked about Domi just for the lulz. I want them to get Domi, and I want them to get McCabe and Luke Shen. And we're all set. But in all seriousness, I think in this group, I would take Tanner Jeannot. Probably Tanner Jeannot, just because he's had a down season, and last year he was really good. So I think you might be able to get him for cheaper than the other guys. And Nashville's not in a super blow-it-up mode like the other guys might be.
I don't mind Jeannot, especially because he's that type of player that he plays that grittiness, right? Like he'll Didn't at one point last year he was leading the league in hits and fights or something like that?
Yeah, he's a
nasty.
fantasy hit pick.
I've seen a couple things out there, and I think Marty was one of the ones who shared it, and I actually don't mind the idea of like a Luke Shen, Brock Besser package from Vancouver.
What would you give up for it? We don't have any picks left.
Kerfoot, Hall, and next year's first.
I mean,
that's a massive overpay, but you're also going to be wanting them to retain some of Besser's salary.
Yeah, I guess you're sending Kerfoot home, and the first. I just find it hard to like. Anytime there's a package of like, yeah, we'll just send Kerfoot and Hall. It just seems like, yeah, the two that we don't want, that everybody in Leafs Nation's like, we don't want these guys. Let's just ship them out. It just seems like nobody's going to take that. But I might also be biased because of the echo chamber of Leafs hate.
You also have to remember there's multiple teams who went after Cody Ceci after he played for the Leafs too. So
yeah, that's fair. We also offloaded Nikita Zaitsev. So what's that, Suthy?
It depends where you send Kerfoot to, right? If you're sending to a non-playoff team, then he doesn't really push the needle at all. But he is someone who can help a playoff team right now too. So really depends on salaries and stuff. But he is an interesting trade piece right now.
Yeah, because I mean, Vancouver could be in a position where they take him and flip him, or somebody else could take him and flip him, like a rebuilding team. Also, this whole thing about St. Louis being in on Timo Meier, now that they got the picks from the
that's weird
O'Reilly trade with Toronto, it's like, what? If they come in and steal the bell of the ball when they're rebuilding, just to re-sign him for the next couple of years, I think that'd be the biggest slap in the face to everybody going for the playoffs.
Let me pose this to you guys. How do you feel, and this is totally dependent on what this player wants to do, but if Kane tells management, I'll go to Toronto or New York, that's it. You trade maybe a future second and a third for him? How do you feel about that?
Just because he's saying he's going to go to somebody that we have to play against on our trip to the Cup, you just spend whatever to get him, just so that New York can't have him.
Because I feel like his asking price is going to be low just because of the amount of teams like he's going to want to go to. So they're handcuffing Chicago right there, but that makes it interesting. If you want to put Ryan O'Reilly on the third line, that gives you an elite winger on each line.
The only thing with that is, yet again, you're going to have to be probably getting another team to broker a quarter of the salary. Because what's Kane's hit? 10.5. Right now we only have $4.4 million of deadline cap space. So even at 50%, we're still over.
You need two teams, yeah.
Or if you can include someone like Kerfoot in that trade, even then his salary is a little low right now, but you do need a third team to eat that other salary, right?
Yeah.
Getting Patrick Kane at $2.5 million, though, if it's retained through two teams, that'd be hilarious. I love, like, the salary cap is so stupid. Like, the fact that you can do this where just, here, we'll retain through this team. Do you guys want, a fourth or a fifth round for it? Great, here you go. And it's just all these little things are just a slap in the face to the rules. It's like, just fucking revamp this, please.
If the Leafs got Patrick Kane for, like, $1 million or $2 million, Gary Bettman would come down and veto that trade and be like, no, not for you, Toronto Maple Leafs. You are not allowed to have all of these elite players. And now I'm making up a new rule, and you can't do that right now.
You can only do one retention through two teams per season.
Yeah, some stupid-ass rule that's like, effective immediately. Blah, 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 blah. And we're like, fuck.
No, he'll say it was always there, and he'll pull up some page and Bill Daly's scribbled handwriting. It's like in the back of the book. Poets Scotia D. I believe a defense-minded, bruising player who will keep forwards away from creating mayhem in front of Sammy/Wall. In a long series, you can't have enough heavy players. I agree. I think it's going to be tough to go after somebody like McCabe, but I also think that Liljegren did a really good job of clearing the front of the net tonight. I think he's kind of growing into that role. Learning from Gio, but
he's not big, but he's just nasty.
Exactly, but I think to have another person just to keep, like, it's not a bad thing to have another one of those to keep people out from in front of the net. So,
is that someone like maybe Shen?
I mean, yeah, that's a good one, actually.
He's low cost. You know what he brings? He's a steady, stay-at-home defenseman. He's not going to do anything offensively, but he will be responsible defensively.
That's honestly a good one. Who else was on this list here?
He's won a cup.
Now, yeah, like, and that's the point I was just going to bring up there, Suthy. Like, part of it's me being nostalgic because I loved Shen when the Leafs drafted him.
Me too.
And even when he had his down years on those bad Leaf teams, I still loved the guy. And I was really, despite the fact that Tampa was winning, I was really happy to see him have some success. You have a guy who knows his role. Like when he was on the Lightning, he wasn't stirring it up. You know, I was a top 5 pick in the NHL, blah, blah, blah. I want more ice time. He knew he wasn't the best defenseman on that team. He knew he probably wasn't even the 7th best defenseman on that team. But when he had to, he came in, played, did his job, and he can play that physical, clear the net style that, you know, everybody is saying that we need. I don't want to, yeah.
I think it kind of goes to your point earlier, what you mentioned about Timmins too. Like he's always, am I in the lineup if I'm not? But Shen doesn't really worry about that stuff because if he's in, he knows his role and he's going to play that game every single game that he's in. So that's when you don't really have to worry about that too much. So that kind of entices me a little bit more.
Going to somebody maybe a little cheaper at the bottom of this list, Joel Edmondson from Montreal. What do you think of that one? A lot of head scratching going on here around the circle.
Do you think he pushes the needle enough for you?
I mean,
No.
I think not a ton compared to Luke Shen, but I think it's enough of an improvement for a low cost if you have to do a final thing. Like if they're still bringing in a bigger piece with the $4 million and they've got like, you know, whatever, I don't even know what his contract is, but
if you're looking at Montreal, do
cheap,
you maybe consider David Savard instead and pay a tiny bit more? Because his name's been thrown out there too.
yeah. What is Edmondson's at 3.5 a season? And what's David? Yeah, David Savard's a decent defense pick there. 1 sec. I'm just trying to grab his.
I trust Dubas.
They both make the same.
You know, just looking at the cap friendly for Vancouver for 1 sec, 2 big names jumping out like sore thumbs. Ilya Mikheyev on LTIR and Travis Dermott on IR. So bittersweet, you know. We could be in the same situation as them, and hopefully Dubas goes after someone who's interested in staying, right? That's a huge thing for him, not just pay a lot for a rental, and someone who will take a team-friendly contract. Maybe an Ontario boy again?
So here's the thing with that. Luke Shen's deal expires at the end of this year. Edmondson and Savard, just for example, are both signed past this year. So Edmondson signed next year, Savard signed for the next 2 years, both at $3.5 million. So it's not a crazy big deal, but it's not insignificant. It's not a league min contract that you might be able to get Shen to stick around on if you bring him in, but it's also a question mark and he could just leave and sign for more somewhere else because apparently his value has gone up. Because even though he's on an $850K expiring deal, everybody all of a sudden wants Luke Shen. I have to hand it to his agent, who has done a fantastic job of getting the conversation going around somebody who really I didn't think we'd be talking about right now.
Well, to be fair, like this is not a buyer's market, right? This is a seller's market. There's not too many big name or even that many names out there in general, right?
Well, I mean, the fact that Noel Achari was listed as number 10 on TSN's list of trade bait. I mean, we got 2 of the top 10. Great. It just seems like that's crazy to think about.
And like, I don't know, this idea of like keeping people for years after this one, I'm not a huge believer in that. Like, this is our window right now. Let's do whatever you have to do. Let's fucking do this year. We'll figure out stuff in the off season, but let's bring in who we need to and not worry about contract status after this year.
Another one who has kind of gone off the radar, probably because of how shitty of a team he's been on all season, is John Klingberg.
Yep, Klingberg and Gostisbehere are both on that list too. As much talk as there is around Chychrun, I think Ghost is going to be a pretty big one that Arizona
Agreed.
can move on as well. Klingberg, I don't know. I've never got the hype around him. Like he moved to Anaheim and things didn't, or what, from Anaheim to Dallas or Dallas to Anaheim?
Dallas to Anaheim, yeah.
Dallas to Anaheim, and Anaheim's been shit. Like they thought that was going to be the first piece of them putting things back together, and now they're like, we don't know what to do. So clearly that didn't work, and I don't love the headspace that he's probably in over the last few years.
I don't either, because I feel like he's on the same wavelength as Riley right now. They're both trying to figure out their offensive game, and you don't need two players doing that right now.
Speaking of, this whole talk around Edmonton getting Carlson, like, we tried having two Tyson Berries. It doesn't work. Like, they're going to learn that real quick if they spend a ton on Carlson. They're going to have Tyson Berry going, so what do I do here? And then they're going to go, wait, Tyson's not that good at anything. And he goes, fuck you guys, put me back to what I was doing. I don't know if you saw tonight, but he scored a power play goal with 3 seconds left in the period. And it was their first shot in like 15 minutes.
Oh.
Well, yeah, it was right off a face-off.
Oh, my God. Well, it'll be interesting to see what these veterans pick, right? And if they want to go to a contending team for the right price. I feel like a lot of these bigger names have so much control, but there's no movement because there's either the price is too high or I don't know, or they waited too long, kind of like Patrick Kane and the Rangers in a sense, but we'll see.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that we've seen Tarasenko and O'Reilly both go so long before the deadline because, it's going to make deadline pretty boring for the guys that got to sit there for 6 hours. And it also sets the market like pretty far in advance. You know, there's not as much speculation. I think a lot of deals are going to be things that were sitting on the table are going to be rehashed now between today and deadline. Like, I think that threw everything for a spin because, you know, what was being talked about, they can now say, okay, pump the brakes here. The Leafs only had to spend that. We're not giving you our top prospect now. Like,
only had to spend that. You must not be reading Saravelli's reports.
Oh, Frankie.
Well, when the conversation has been around Matthew Nyes being traded and like all the names people were throwing around, the fact that it was like, oh, Adam Gaudette, who barely cracked the lineup that we signed in the offseason, and a couple picks and a lower prospect, like a mid-tier prospect. Great. That was not what everybody was talking about the Leafs having to spend for any of these things. It's not what we talked about them having to spend even to get Ryan O'Reilly back in December. We thought it was going to be more than that. And they got him retained 75%. Like, yeah. That's the thing I think that's going to be the sticking point for other teams is they're going to go, whoa, and you're going to retain. What do you mean?
I love seeing...
We've got Seattle on the phone or Arizona on the phone, and they're willing to take 25.
The closer you get to deadline, though, the stakes get a little higher, the pressure gets a little more, so that's when you start seeing deals that maybe you wouldn't see a couple of weeks ahead, so that's why I really, really appreciate what Dubas did and got this deal done 2 weeks ahead of time.
Sorry, Johnny, go ahead.
No, go for it.
Well, I was just going to say, for the most part, Dubas has preferred doing things a little bit ahead of time, right? Like the Muzzin trade, I think that was a couple weeks ahead. Actually, I think that one was in...
Same with Foligno.
Maybe even a month before the deadline. Like the Campbell trade, everything, right? I think the
Lyubushkin
Foligno...
was in December.
Yeah. Like, he does a lot of things beforehand, and then on the deadline, he typically doesn't like to do anything major, which isn't a bad thing, because it gives the players that extra handful of games to get, acclimated to their team, to their city, everything like that.
Yeah, because deadline does cut it pretty close to the end of the season. Sorry, what's that, Suthy?
Yeah, because he kind of gets to dictate the market too, and like what you said, Johnny, the trade deadline is really, really close to the end of the season. I think it's probably 10, 15 games too close, but once you start going down to the wire like that, then you are probably going to overpay more than you would if you made a deal a couple of weeks ahead of time.
Yeah, I think the name that came up that made me really think about how little players get to acclimate to their teams. Who was it who went back? Was it Sammy Blay? No, fuck that, not that one. Who was the one that the Rangers got
Sammy Blay.
back? It wasn't him. Not that I'm thinking. I'm thinking of somebody else.
Got it.
Somebody
Mott.
Tyler Mott.
Mott.
Yeah.
Tyler Mott that they rented last year, and I was looking at how many games he played, and it was like 9 regular season games before they went into the playoffs. Like, I can't imagine trying to get a guy acclimated into your lineup 9 games before the playoffs, and that was like one of your rentals. Like, that's crazy. That's like what we were looking at with Nick Foligno. So I get doing it this much earlier because you get an extra 6 to 10 games with the player.
True. Foligno was an interesting case because he had to do the 14-day quarantine, but yeah, getting someone late, it's so crazy.
14-day quarantine, he was still hurt.
I forgot about that. Okay. So with a few minutes left here, we're going to play a clip from Lord Bettman. So everybody mute up for a sec.
The NHL could not be more supportive of the Coyotes' efforts to make the Tempe Entertainment District a reality. But in order for that to happen, we need you, fans of the team, community members and residents, to come out and show your support. Please vote in support of the Tempe Entertainment District, and let's bring a new arena and a permanent home for the Coyotes right here in Tempe.
Desperation is a stinky cologne.
So before we even unpack that, today, friend of the NHL, Akeem Aliou, retweeted this video. Did you guys see this? What he quoted it with?
Yeah.
No.
So, Akeem Aliou, does it get any more embarrassing? Commissioner of the NHL begging Arizona taxpayers for votes to fund a new arena while the team has lost millions of dollars spanning decades, while there are multiple viable markets to move this team, all while players cover costs for the foreseeable future. Oof. Torched.
Yeah.
But he's not wrong.
No, he's not.
I've never seen any of these arena votes go through that had to be assisted by the commissioner, like putting out a campaign saying like, hey guys, vote yes on prop whatever for your new arena.
He comes across as like a shifty politician just grifting his way into what he wants.
Yeah, it just screams of this is my project, like he's personally invested. There's no way he would be on the ground doing this for any other team in this league. Like with Ottawa right now, when all they're going through, it's all behind doors. It's setting up meetings for Ryan Reynolds and letting that all happen. This is the one where he's like, no, I personally want to and need to be involved in what happens here. And it's becoming more and more obvious with every step of this plan for the last, 2 years now that's just been falling apart.
It's like he has to follow through on his side of the deal and deliver to some sort of promise. Now he's crying for the help. I don't know.
There is legitimately 5 arenas in the OHL that can seat more than the arena the Coyotes are in right now. In the Ontario Hockey League that teenagers play in.
Yeah.
Boy.
To me, it's a big case of like term limits on commissioners because this is just getting out of control. It's like Johnny said, it's a pet project for him at this point, and everyone seems to see through it but him.
Yeah. Just to expand this from just ripping on Arizona and Bettman, I read more into Marty Walsh, who's going to be taking over the NHLPA. And this is why I think things are going to get real interesting for the next whatever labor bargaining dispute that happens between him and Bettman. So, like we mentioned, Marty Walsh is leaving his post as the Secretary of Labor for President Joe Biden. So this is already like somebody who's in charge of how employees are treated, essentially. But looking at his history, he was the mayor of Boston, and before that joined the Laborers Union Local 223 at age 21 and served as the union's president from his time in state legislature until he became mayor of Boston. So this guy, his entire career has just been in unions and fighting for workers. So no, he's not a lawyer, but does he know exactly what he's doing here? And does he know how to take lawyers on? Yeah, and this is going to be real fun to watch. It's going to be fun in the most C-SPAN-ass boring way. as fun as paper.
David and Goliath type of thing, right?
Well, on the bright side, we found out recently that an OHL team is temporarily being moved from 50 minutes away from me to being 30 minutes away from me. So the Hamilton Bulldogs are going to be the Brantford Bulldogs for a couple seasons.
Oh.
So when there is a lockout over that, then I can go to more OHL games.
Whoa.
Nice.
What happened there?
Just saying. Well, the First Ontario Centre has to go through a bunch of renovations.
Oh.
So the Civic Centre in Brantford that used to be one of the off-season training grounds and training camp places for like the Detroit Red Wings in the 60s is still open and is going to house the Hamilton or the Brantford Bulldogs for a couple seasons.
Interesting.
Want to hear a fun Ottawa fact?
Yes.
For $30, you can either buy a ticket to an Ottawa 67's Windsor Spitfire game, or you can get a BOGO deal with the Sens and get 2 games for $30.
That's awesome.
What deal is this?
I got emailed a BOGO Leaf or Sens deal. I'll send it to you, but it's for like some of the games aren't bad actually, but yeah, $30 and you can pick 2 games.
All right, might do that.
67s against Spitfires wouldn't be too bad. You'd get to see Shane Wright.
True.
Yeah, I've been kind of checking TD Place. When is this Friday? Is that this Friday at 7?
If you go, let me know.
You want to go?
Sure.
This Friday, let's do it. General admission is $15.
There you go. Or they have cheap beer.
Oh, I love it. And TD is so much easier to get to than the Canadian Tire Center.
Complete side note, you have tickets for the Leafs game on April 1st, right?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Hell yeah. Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, the 67s arena is like literally in the core of the like middle of Ottawa.
It should be where the NHL arena should be.
Yeah. No kidding. Okay. Anything we close off with tonight? Let's get out of here. It's late.
Couple Leafs notes for history.
Asa.
Yesterday, 24 years ago, was opening night at the ACC, now Scotiabank Arena.
Ooh.
Fuck, I'm old.
That's pretty cool.
Suthy.
I remember that.
And then, unfortunately, on this day, back in 1974, one of the greatest Leafs to ever play the game passed away suddenly in a car accident.
And now they make Greek wraps and burrito bowls in his name, right?
Yeah, and flatbread pizzas.
Yeah.
Tim Horton.
What a way to honor him.
Tim Horton played parts of 20 different seasons with the Maple Leafs franchise.
That's wild.
And one of the greatest defensemen to ever play the game. He was playing for the Sabres at the time, driving back from Toronto to Buffalo, and was in an accident.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Biehner,
Tragic.
I had that earlier stat about the 5 assist game, but you came back and took the crown, as it is yours. Congratulations.
Well, Tim Horton wouldn't be happy to learn that you now need to spend $30 at Tim Hortons to get a free coffee with the new point system. I know, complete change of topic here.
Wait, I was trying to figure out what you guys meant by all that. So you win points from doing the Tim's picks, but you have to spend $30 to be able to use the points?
No, so pretty much after so many visits, you would get a free item, but now the points are per dollar instead of per visit, so you must spend a certain amount to get the points.
I mean, per visit is just a stupid business model in general. Like, I've never heard of a place that just, besides like, I don't know, Subway punch, like with the sub card, like, it just seems a little like points should be based on how much you spend. This is the thing that pisses me off about optimum points when I go to Loblaws, and it's like, why is it not? Why don't I just get points for what I spend? Why do I have to spend like $10 on avocados to get 300 bonus points? It's stupid.
It's kind of like McDonald's, where after buying 7, you get your next free, but now you must spend.
That's not what McDonald's is. McDonald's is points. For all the money you spend, you get points, and you can use the points to buy shit on the app.
Well, remember the stickers off the cups?
Oh, I do.
Oh, I don't know if they still do that.
Yeah,
I remember McDonald's kids meal pizzas. Okay, like come on.
Me too.
I remember that.
They were amazing.
Yeah,
You guys are old.
hashtag bring them back.
But yeah.
Apparently,
I
there's
have,
one McDonald's in the States somewhere that still does it.
Yes, there is. I had a friend who went to it. The nostalgic McDonald's thing I have is the Spy Kids toys. Those were like the coolest thing when I was a kid, because like they gave you like the glasses that made you look like a little spy, and there was like all these gadgets that did things.
I remember that.
That
and
was
the Arch Deluxe.
That was the height of
My dad.
Happy Meal toys.
I don't know if you guys remember when Inspector Gadget came out. There was all the different Happy Meal toys that you pieced together to make like a 1.5 2 foot tall Inspector Gadget. My dad literally drove across the country to get me all those pieces.
Oh my lord! You just unlocked a weird core memory that had been lost. I totally forgot about that thing, and now
The
it's
90s
like,
was a
I
funny
can
thing
see
for
it.
that. Remember when like the whole Pepsi points and they got sued over the jet because someone tried saving up for all those Pepsi points?
Oh, that's an awesome Netflix special.
It
That
is.
and while we're on it, McMillions, if you guys haven't seen that. I think it's on HBO.
Very good
Crave.
too.
Another Netflix one to watch because of the humor is just absolutely incredible is Conk on Earth.
Oh, I've seen that. It's funny as hell.
It is so
Nice.
funny.
Yeah.
I think I'm, as of today, locked out of Netflix, but we'll see.
Pay your bill,
Totally
Johnny.
recommend Kunk on Earth.
Oh, Steph, we checked out that dating show, The Perfect Match.
Do you like it?
You didn't tell me Shane from Love is Blind is on it. He's my favorite.
Oh,
and Chase from
God.
Too Hot. And
Yeah.
Francesca, the Ottawa homegirl.
I didn't want
Come
to
on.
ruin it. She's from Vancouver.
Nope, she's from Manotick. Nice try.
Well, her
from the
first
Twa.
show, she put Vancouver.
Yeah,
So-
because saying you're from Vancouver sounds a lot better than saying you're from Manotick.
Well, obviously, I've never Googled her. Clearly. What do you think of me?
If you're from
No, I
Manotick,
just-
you're rich as fuck though, so that's not too bad.
Yeah, I think
Oh.
it just she was
Well, look at
living.
her.
She was living in Vancouver when she went on the show, but she's from here.
She needs a budget just to keep up with the features, like the
Regardless.
plastic, right?
I like the addition of all these people from other shows, but the show itself kind of the premise is a little lame.
It is, yeah. But it gets better because you're kind of forced to stay in the relationship. So they're not actually looking for love, of course, but it gets kind of cutthroat. Did you watch the first 4 episodes?
Kind of. They've been on. I think Emmeline's more into it than I am.
Yeah, I know. I was just more excited for the namesake, you know. And then you see the board of all the previous. Anyway,
Anyways,
Friday,
good night, everybody.
Minnesota.
Yep.
Minnesota, Kirill Kaprizov, and
Flurry, if he's
Fleury.
in. Gustafson played tonight, but I need
I've
some
been
starts. Flurry,
holding
okay.
Gustafson. Gustafson's been my little fantasy stream lately. Him and Phoenix Copley. Oh, and Connor Ingram. I've had the most random goalies coming up clutch for me lately.
Thompson out, and of course you pick up fucking Gustafson and Copley, the ones that are popping off the
I was like, oh no,
wire.
my goalie's hurt. I'll grab Connor Ingram, 46 save shutout for Arizona. Like, what? Let's go.
Yeah, I know. And that trade you pulled off today, you got Sergachev for Graves. Oh my God, Scott, I know you're listening. Bad trade, bud. I couldn't veto it, but I'm so sorry. Oh.
Bad fucking trade.
Thank you. I was sitting
Scott.
on the toilet and I got that one. And if I wasn't already on the toilet, I would have shit myself.
I was watching the Leaf game, trying not to shit myself because I had to push accept and not get yelled at for that. Anyway.
On that note.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Leafs Late Night, your night of post-game podcast. Available after every game on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Audible, and more.
Hi, Marnie.